He'd heard the rumors, the town shame buried under polite smiles and whiskey-soaked nights, but when Cowboy Silas Hardy finally stood in the moonlit street and saw her, the silent girl peering from the saloon shadow, he knew justice would come, no matter the cost. Silas Hardy arrived in Red Willow as dusk washed red over the dusty street. His hat brim dipped low, boots scuffed from weeks on the trail. He dismounted at the saloon, where murmurs chased the wind. They said a girl named May had vanished from the schoolhouse years ago. No one dared talk of it now, except in whispers. But Silas watched a flicker behind those swinging doors, slender figure, pale like chalk, clutching silence as tightly as a lifeline. He stepped in. Inside, the stamp of cigar smoke and pine floors greeted him. May sat alone, eyes downcast, fingers dancing over the table, no drink, only a green sketchpad. He watched as she etched the saloon, the bar, patrons' faces. He sensed her heart in every sweeping charcoal mark. Behind her, two hulking men watched with leer. Silas clenched his jaw but waited. He drew in a breath and touched her shoulder. May startled, looking up with eyes stormy and sad. She did not smile, but something in him cracked. He nodded once, silently. He'd find her voice. Silas rented a small cabin on the edge of town and invited May to accompany him. At first, she shook her head, thumb brushing her throat. No, he waited, patience tethered to hope. Over weeks, they began to communicate. Silas, guided by instinct, invented rudimentary signs, hardy cowboy versions: water, ride, safe, trust. May took to them like roots to soil. They spent mornings by the creek. She drew the willows, cattails, and sunlight splintering through leaves. Silas hushing his horse with a soothing voice. She showed worry when he pushed a log aside too roughly, gentle gestures, careful concern. Their bond grew without sound. Rumors swirled. Folks whispered in a general store they'd seen Silas with the silent girl. Some condemned her as trouble. Others pitied her. Old Miss Muldoon said May used to laugh in school until she went quiet and never smiled again. Then disappeared. No news, no death, no closure. May trembled when a low-down drunk tipped his hat and spat, still mute, girl, but Silas caught the man, jaw pressed firm to cheekbone. No words needed. He gathered May, mounted, and rode her back to the cabin. She laid her head on his shoulder as the wind carried distant town bells, an invitation. May's hands trembled when Silas found her old sketchbook. Inside were drawings, children's games, schoolhouse desks, but one page made him freeze: crude figures, a teacher's hand forcing silence on May's throat, dark eyes leaning in. Then scribbled words: don't talk. Silas realized this was no accident. The teacher, Reverend Baylor, was Reverend Baylor, the upstanding man soon to debate the town pastor. The same man who'd quietly erased May's accident from the records. Silas confronted Ms. Muldoon. She revealed the truth in tears. Reverend Baylor molested May in the empty classroom, then hushed her threat to speak, promising God would punish her if she told. May retreated into silence and, at 15, vanished, shipped off, she assumed, to distant relatives. This, Silas couldn't let stand. Town meeting was tomorrow, elections for new council. Silas prepared. He whispered instructions to May: sit front row, hold the sketchbook open. She nodded, silent courage etched in her eyes. Next morning, Silas strode onto the dais, voice low and steady. He slowly told the townsfolk, Red Willow claims to be righteous, but some secrets live under its skin. May was hurt. Reverend Baylor used her silence against her? Gasps echoed. The Reverend turned pale. May stepped forward, hand shaking, and showed the drawing, words and images that cut the room. She signed, carefully, you took my voice. But now, I have yours. A few seconds of silence followed. Then a storm. Reverend Baylor shouted denial. Town men rallied behind him, our good Reverend. While others stood in silence. Silas met eyes with May. She tapped the book hard and signed, tell truth. Her bravery stirred witnesses. Other girls whispered they once saw him with them. The town doctor joined, saying he suspected something had long affected May's health. By late afternoon, a jury of neighbors was convened. Reverend Baylor was arrested. May released her hold for a breath she didn't know she'd been holding after the trial. Red Willow struggled. Some families left. Others stayed, shame written in stairs. May and Silas stood quiet but undeterred. Silas offered May a place by his side on the ranch near the river. He built her a studio where she could paint and teach signing to neighbors, young and old. Her silence became a language they wanted to learn. May's sketches became community treasures. Portraits of townsfolk, barns, horses, sunsets. She revealed the town's heart through art. May grappled with waves of doubt, flashbacks to the classroom, the hush of authority. She trembled in crowds. Silas held her, taught her to breathe, to pace forward, one canvas at a time. The Reverend appealed, tried to blackmail townsfolk. But the people held firm, their newfound unity defended May. 5 years later, the river shone against the morning sun. May stood before a mural on the schoolhouse wall, its first mural. It depicted a young silent girl with windswept hair, reaching for a friend's hand. Silas rested nearby, hat off, pride on his face. May turned, touched his arm, and signed, "We did it." Speechless, they shared a smile in silence, their hearts loud with triumph. If echoes in the dust moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear about courage, justice, and love that listens beyond words. Like and subscribe to the Wild West Love Stories, and tap the bell to follow more tales from the frontier, where every heart has a story worth telling. Leave a comment telling us what silence means to you. We're listening with all our hearts.